Mateta won't score goals. Who's going to create chances at Crystal Palace? Who's going to feed Sarr now? Are some questions and statements the FPL community has been saying in recent weeks with the departure of Eze from Crystal Palace. But is that really the case? Or have we, as the FPL community, got ourselves a new 6 million hidden gem as a differential? Let's have a look. As we know, Eze has now left Crystal Palace to join the Arsenal. But more importantly, he's left a massive hole in that Crystal Palace side. Not only over the last couple of years was Eze a brilliant FPL pick, he made the likes of Mateta, a Sarr viable FPL options. So now, how have Palace replaced Eze's creativity? Well, they went and bought 22-year-old Yéremy Pino from Villarreal for approximately £26 million. He has 15 international caps for Spain, scored 3 goals, but more importantly, is the creativity side of things. Yéremy Pino is only 0.02 expected assists away from matching Eze's expected assist total from last year in the league. Again, with assists 0.02 away. Passes to the penalty area, Yéremy Pino comes out on top. Of course, progressive runs, passes to the final third. The more established and probably the better player as of right now, Eze comes out on top. But we do have a small glimpse that Pino can replace Eze's creativity for Crystal Palace. However, the next question should be, do Eze and Pino actually play the same position? So I've had a look at Pino's heat map last year in La Liga, and as we can see, for Villarreal, he played a lot of his football down the right hand side. However, as we know, Eze operated a lot more down that left hand side or that inside left channel for Crystal Palace. So where does Yéremy Pino really come into this? With obviously Palace already having the likes of Munoz and Sarr down the right hand side, can Pino play on the left? So the answer to that question is yes. This is Yéremy Pino's heat map throughout his entire career. Of course, he's predominantly played on the right hand side for Villarreal. But as we can see, a lot of his football has also been played on the left. However, one thing we do know is footballers do prefer certain areas on the football pitch. For example, one of our favourite FPL assets is Cole Palmer. As the FPL community, we all say we prefer him in the right or that right 10 row just because we think the angles that are created for him to have a shot or to create for other players are a lot better. So is that the case with Yéremy Pino when he plays on the left compared to the right? Let's have a look. And the answer to that question might also be yes. So what I've done is I've looked at Pino's career data. So when he's played on the left versus when he's played on the right. As we can see, Pino on the left has a higher number of expected assists by 0.05. Assist numbers are exactly the same. On the right, Pino does make more passes to the penalty area. However, on the left, more progressive runs and more passes to the final third. So Pino's creativity, if he does play on the left as the Eze replacement, might actually be better than it first looks when looking at the league data from last year. So far in this video, we've come to establish that Pino can replace some of the creative hole left by the departure of Eze in that Crystal Palace side. So that does mean the likes of Mateta and Sarr should still be getting enough chances if Pino can replicate the same form that he showed in La Liga. However, could Pino become a good FPL option himself, how Eze was for Crystal Palace? Let's have a look. The thing that made Eze a brilliant FPL option over the last couple of years was Eze, alongside his creativity, also had that goal threat. Eze almost became synonymous in the Premier League over the last couple of years for the goals that he scored from outside the box for Crystal Palace. The goals that he scored from free kicks, which was obviously a massive positive. But alongside the creativity, he was a massive goal threat. And is Pino that just yet? The answer is probably no. If we're looking at last year's league data, Eze almost has double the XG that Pino had in the league, 0.28 to 0.16. If we're looking at goals again, Eze comes out on top, 0.26 to 0.17. However, touches in the penalty area is where it's interesting. Pino actually averages more touches than Eze in the penalty area. Pino had 3.87. So maybe if he shows a bit more composure in front of goal, his goal scoring record could potentially improve, which is something to keep an eye on. Of course, dribbles, Eze comes out on top. But what I really wanted to talk about was shots. Eze had 3.1 shots per 90. Yéremy Pino has 1.12. So Eze comes out massively on top. But I think the more important thing should be, where is he having these shots from? As we can see, a lot of Eze's shots were low XG shots from outside the box, which obviously inflated his XG numbers and also his shot numbers. In comparison to Pino, Pino only had 2 shots from outside the box. A lot of his shots are concentrated inside the box from what we can see from the shot map from last year in La Liga. Compared to Eze, obviously, Eze had a lot of shots from outside the box, which over time accumulate XG. So Yéremy Pino's, let's say, shooting potential, goal scoring potential might not be as bad as first feared. However, this is something I think we should keep an eye on going into this season with Crystal Palace. One thing for certain though, is that Pino does replace some of Eze's creativity. He makes the likes of Mateta and Sarr still valuable FPL options. However, Pino as an option himself is something that I think we should keep an eye on. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys like this video. Comment your thoughts on Pino and Crystal Palace assets as a whole in FPL. And make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We will be back soon